Well, that's why the World Economic Forum and things along those lines are so fascinating, because you can see that they're the ones that are holding the strings that dangle the narratives in front of the people, that make them attractive. And then you realize, like, well, this is not our real problem. Our problem is not really these narratives. Our problem is who's promoting these narratives and what are they doing while they're promoting that and we're distracted. Well, they're trying to institute a centralized digital currency. They're trying to, give people vaccine passports and some sort of a social credit score system. They're trying to do all sorts of weird methods of control that you're not going to be able to get out of it if you're on the left or if you're on the right. It's going to fuck up everybody's life. And in the meantime, we're arguing about who's right, Greta Thunberg or Andrew Tate.
Right.
Like, it's like these distractions that they put in front of us in the media that get us so hyped up while real shit is going down, that there's real decisions that could be made that might affect you forever. The amount of freedom you have, your ability to travel, your ability, like in China, you say the wrong thing, you can't buy a plane ticket. Mm-hmm. You can't go anywhere. Sorry, you're not allowed to buy a home. We saw you tweet about something we found disagreeable.
Well, we have to worry about that now too in the States, though, right? You have to worry if you cross a certain line. Are they going to make it difficult for you to process your credit card transactions?
Will you be unemployable?
Yeah.
Like,
will you not be able to use PayPal anymore?
Right.
It's stuff like that that kind of creeping dystopian sort of systems of control. It's a big news story, and I think people recognize that it's a serious thing, but we don't see it talked about very much in the corporate press because, again, they're in favor of it, right? So but I'm terrified by all that stuff.
When
right?
PayPal was saying they were going to fine people for misinformation. And I'm like, hey, you guys are just supposed to be a way I can buy things online.
Yeah.
That's it. When you're saying what misinformation on what? On what platform? On any platform? What if I'm at home? Are you listening? Like, how the fuck what are you saying when you're saying misinformation? You're going to fine me? Where's that money going? You're stealing money from me because you don't agree? And what happens if it turns out that misinformation turns out to be true?
Yeah, no, I did a story about, I think it was Mint Press they had funds frozen by PayPal, if I remember correctly. And but the idea that this company, they should be doing one thing. They're trying to make a transaction happen.
Yeah.
Why are they in the truth business?
Exactly.
Like that can only happen if something has gone wildly wrong in society and somebody feels the need to start using all these different pressure points to control people, like whether or not you can process credit card transactions or PayPal. If you leave a record of certain kind of web surfing, maybe that's gonna be a negative that will appear somewhere. Like that stuff is all scary. Like it's a serious problem, I think.
Especially when it comes to money. Like you can freeze funds, you can move money around, so you can withdraw money from someone's account because you think, like, what was it, like $2,500 or something around those lines?
Something like that.
Some fine that you would get for misinformation. So if your grandma posts some crazy shit about Trump really winning the election, you have a crazy QAnon grandma, like, they're gonna steal her money?
Yeah.
Like, what are you saying? Like,
right, or the Canadian trucker thing, where the GoFundMe thing, right? Like you raise a whole bunch of money,
but not just the GoFundMe thing. About they froze their fucking bank accounts.
Yeah.
And all these people did was protest.
Right, and you don't have to agree with the protest, but you certainly have to. You certainly have to be freaked out by the response to it.
Well, also freaked out that Trudeau is one of the young global leaders at the World Economic Forum, and that Trudeau labeled the truckers as misogynists and racists.
Right.
Like, says who?
Right.
Where are you getting this from? You're not even, like, pointing to a thing they've said. You're just saying that in this blanket statement to try to diffuse everything they've said and everything they stand for. It's so transparent and such a checkers move in a world of 4D chess.
Yeah, I mean, I always think back to this moment in the 2016 presidential campaign when Bernie was drawing some blood against Hillary by, talking about the gigantic speaking fee she was taking from banks. And they tried to throw a bunch of stuff back at him. None of it worked until one day she came out and she said this thing, if we break up the banks tomorrow, will that end racism? And suddenly this idea sort of popped out into the ether that talking about Hillary Clinton's ties to banks was somehow racist or somehow not progressive, right? And because Sanders, who had grown up his whole life in that ecosystem, there was nothing more terrifying than being accused of racism or misogyny or whatever it was, because they came out with the Bernie Bro thing right after that.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was a disciplinary method, basically, right?
Yeah.
Like if you go to a certain place, we're going to start dropping these words on you, and those words are not survivable in certain areas,
Right.
So it's very effective, but I think it can't be effective forever, I don't think.
No, I think that effectiveness is waning like a bucket with a hole in the bottom of it, and I don't think there's any escape. I think that the path they've put themselves on, you can't return from it, and I think they're doomed. I really do. I think we're looking at a future where almost all credible media is independent. I really do. I just don't think they're going to make it. I think the only thing that Hollywood will be good for and like these entertainment corporations would be good for is creating things that are exorbitantly expensive, like films with special effects.
Well, they are good at that still.
Yeah, but that's the only thing they'll be able to do.
They make good action movies with superheroes in them, I guess.
I mean, you can make films with iPhones now.